everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the 1995 film Crimson Tide, as you can see right here, directed by Tony Scott. Quick fun fact, he also directed the very first Top Gun movie in 1986. The film takes place on a submarine called the USS Alabama. So, what better way than to make a submarine sandwich? As you can see, we got our bread here, and it just goes. With that said, let's get started. You will need a hoagie roll, cheese, pepperoni, turkey, ham, lettuce, tomato, and Italian dressing. Without further ado, let's get to making this submarine sandwich. Did you know that Crimson Tide was actually inspired by a documentary? Weirdly enough, this movie was inspired by a Discovery Channel documentary titled Submarines, Sharks of Steel. Scott, as well as producers Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer, got inspired to create this movie after watching that documentary. Apparently, Scott is known for having odd ways to be inspired to make a movie. He also directed the 1986 Top Gun film. Want to know what inspired that movie? He read an article about the U.S. Navy Fighter Weapons School, also known as Top Gun School. So I guess we'll start with the cheese first. Add our cheese. That'd be a very cheesy sandwich. No pun intended. So first we add our cheese onto our sandwich, like so, as you can see here. The title of the movie is actually a reference to the University of Alabama. Then we add the ham. It's slimy. Remember, it's all about presentation, otherwise you go down with the ship. Despite the U.S. Navy helping produce Top Gun, they actually refused to help out on Crimson Tide. According to sources, the Navy pulled out due to the actual nature of the film, a mutiny among an American ship. According to them, that has never happened on any American ship, and they did not support showing it on the big screen. Now, we don't know if that's 100% true, but according to sources, that is the supposed reason they did not help out. Hey, look, it looks like a submarine. The movie was actually inspired by a real-life mutiny on a Navy ship, just not an American one. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, there was actually an attempted mutiny aboard a submarine. However, rather than it being an American ship, it was actually a Soviet ship. Long story short, the captain had believed the conflict between the US and the Soviet Union had already started and ordered the crew to ready the nuclear weaponry. One of the highest ranking officers on the ship actually managed to convince the captain to resurface due to the batteries running low on the submarine. Needless to say, the conflict had not happened, and they were ordered to go back to the USSR. It was a good thing that the high commander convinced the captain to go back down there, otherwise the US would have been hit by a nuclear torpedo. Then you sprinkle a little lettuce, like so. The overall casting could have been a lot different than what was in the final film. Gene Hackman, who plays Frank Ramsey, was actually the third choice for the role. Ahead of him was actually Warren Beatty and Al Pacino. Since Al Pacino's name was attached to the film for a bit as a possible actor, Brad Pitt also spoke on his interest to be on the film, as he always wanted to work with Al Pacino. However, once he was no longer in the running, Brad Pitt actually backed out. As for the reason Hackman got the role, it was because Beatty and Al Pacino took too long to respond. Despite him not being the first or second option, he did a great job at the role, and many cannot imagine the character being played by anyone else. Add tomato. There were multiple arguments and tense moments during the filming of the movie. As we know, making a movie is not a walk in the park. People will disagree on things, could be lack of communication, setbacks on schedules, the list goes on and on. Well, Crimson Tide was not free from its own challenges. However, these challenges were between the cast themselves. Denzel Washington actually confronted Tarantino quite angrily, may I add, about the use of racial slurs in the film. Tarantino actually requested the argument to be private, but Washington denied that. Good thing is, Washington eventually apologized and things are good between them. Another argument was between Hans Zimmer, Jerry Bruckheimer, and Tony Scott. What was this argument about, you may ask? Well, it was due to a single music cue. This argument lasted over a week. Before things worked out, according to Zimmer, we just sat there, we'd come in every day, and we'd go at each other. Good news is, Zimmer actually won a Grammy for the main theme. And one last final tense moment, Hackman accidentally punched Washington. Afterwards, he said, well, it makes things tense. We are still not sure if it was intentional or not, as Hackman said it was, but the whole, it makes things tense. Comment makes me believe otherwise. And then, last but not least, we had a little bit of Italian dressing. And then you simply just fold this thing up like so. Boom. Despite not having help from the US Navy, Scott was actually able to film a naval submarine submerging. That's really interesting. As we know, the US Navy refused to help in this production. However, a paid civilian informant informed Scott a Navy ship was leaving Pearl Harbor. Once he heard this, Scott had his boats and helicopters shoot exterior shots and managed to film a Navy ship submerging. And guess what ship it was? That's right, the real USS Alabama. The Navy actually wanted the film crew to go away and to not film the submarine. Since they could not get the film crew away, they decided to submerge, creating the shot in the actual film. After the movie came out, the Navy wanted to fight back as they did not get permission. However, the submarine was within public view and nothing could be done to prevent it. And then, just to top it off, add some chips. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, our submarine sandwich for Crimson Tide. The argument between the origins of the Lipizzaner stallions actually has a deeper meaning. In the movie, Captain Ramsey and Lieutenant Commander Hunter argue over the origins of the Lipizzaner stallions, but the question is, why did they include this? And what was the purpose of this debate? Well, it actually has a deeper meaning. In the film, Ramsey claims the horses originate from Portugal and are born all white, while Hunter claims they originate from Spain and are actually born black, not white. The debate is to actually foreshadow and illustrate the source of friction between both men. It is to reflect the importance of accurate information, the willingness to learn from one another, and to evolve leadership and build trust between the characters. In the end, they are both wrong about the horses' origins. They are actually Slovenian and are born a dark color, but gradually get whiter as they age. See, we've got our two lovely hoagie sandwiches, or submarine sandwiches as they call them. And we're gonna go ahead and dig into this thing. So let's test our magnificent. Well, that's all for today's episode. I hope y'all enjoyed and learned some fun facts about the film Crimson Tide. As always, please comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys.